Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's the Netflix series, the live action Netflix series of Cowboy Bebop. Welcome, everybody. Before we get started, let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos my vast video library and pops up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. Also, if you don't want to be notified, best thing to do is hit that bell down below there, and YouTube won't notify you when I come on live. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media on there and all the links to my pages on there as well. So, non-spoiler alert for this. So this is the spoiler-free version, I guess you could say, of what is Cowboy Bebop. So what is Cowboy Bebop? It was an animated series in the late 90s, 98, 97, 98, somewhere around there. And it basically followed around this ship called the Bebop that had bounty hunters in it. So they traveled through the solar system and they would pick up bounties. And there was also another plot that was running through it as well that had to do with one of the main characters, Spike Spiegel, and dealing with what was called the Syndicate. Now, I'm not giving anything away by telling you all of this. This is just basically kind of the setup, if you will. And the live action version kind of cleans up some of those things and kind of gives a little more of a coherent storyline to it. The only difference is uh Philip says I got 30 minutes. Oh, you got live notices and on your phone. Okay. Wow, amazing. Um so the only difference with this is like I said, it's a little more coherent storyline. And the thing that I found about the live action series that doesn't work early on is, well, just in the first couple episodes, I should say, is that how should I say this? The way the dialogue is written, it's not like the characters are talking to each other. So when the actors are delivering the lines, it's kind of like they're not talking to each other. It's somebody actually called it Whedon-esque in a way, that it was a lot of quippy kind of, one-liners thrown here and there. And I don't think it's Whedon-esque. I think it's just that it was the writing needed to be tightened up a bit more and actually done as dialogue. You can still have quippiness in there and not be Whedon-esque. But that for me, it was like the first 3 episodes, and I found it, especially the first episode. The first episode reminded me a lot of The Spirit, the shitty movie that was done by Frank Miller Frank Miller directed. And oh wow, that first episode was it was kind of one of those things. I was kind of trying to figure out why something wasn't jiving with me on that. But then once you get past, I would say about the middle of the third episode is where things start to you start seeing things kind of tighten up a bit more. And I want to say the reason for this is Christopher Yost's first live action foray. Christopher Yost, of course, who's worked on plenty of Marvel projects. He actually did a really great job of writing the Avengers, the animated Avengers series, which is on Disney Plus right now, by the way. So the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. He was the one that did that pretty much the entire run of that series, which is a good like 30 some odd episodes, something like that. Plus, he's also written for comics and things like that. So this is pretty much his world in this. And so he is the one who brought the anime to the live action, kicking and screaming, if you will. So is it worth your time? Yeah, it is actually. It's weird enough where you're going to get some different ideas. Plus there's a follow through storyline, like I said, as well in this, that it's okay. It's not the greatest of storylines. You've probably seen the storyline before, but it's not bad. And I just want to say Mustafa Shakir actually does a great Jet Black. Uh, he actually is probably the one that I like the most out of the characters, I would say, out of everybody. Faye Valentine was, Daniela Pineda did a great job as Faye Valentine as well. Um, Although in the very beginning she was kind of annoying and again not talking to the other characters, kind of talking at the other characters, which is kind of what Faye does anyway. But so I was kind of letting that slide a bit more. But John Cho as Spike Spiegel at the very beginning, it wasn't jiving. It wasn't going along like the anime fairly much. That's what I'm going to say on that. So with that said, yes, it is worth your time. Give it a shot. Check it out. See what you think about it. And also take a look at the anime series as well, which is also on Netflix, by the way. So with that said, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episodes. If you have not seen them, go and watch them. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. And I'm giving you enough time to hit the pause button or the stop button or whatever you're going to do. That's enough time. Plenty and plenty of time. So, this is the spoiler version, of course, so we get to talk about spoilers. Um, the one thing that kind of bothered me about this series is they never really say what happened to Earth. We just know that everyone's living out by Jupiter and whatnot and Mars, and but they never say what happened to Earth. Which in the anime series we know the gate technology at one point actually explodes near the moon and actually cracks the moon a bit, and there is now just a ring around Earth of just nothing but moon debris that is raining down on the Earth constantly. People still live on Earth, but they live underground, and it's just because it's really fucking dangerous to live, on Earth itself. So Earth has been pretty much been abandoned, if you will, by anybody who has any kind of money or, those that have taken them with them. So they kind of glossed over that a bit in this live action portion of the series, which I think they should have actually mentioned that a bit, but they didn't. So, um, also a bit of a change, that whole ending with Julia saying, she takes over the syndicate instead of dying, of course, which happens. So her, Spike, and Vicious in the anime series. And yes, this is going to be a spoiler for that if you haven't seen that. They're all dead in the animated series at the end. In this, Julie ends up taking over the syndicate. She takes a wounded Vicious and basically chains him in the boiler room of the syndicate main office. And she says, no one sees the elders anyway. And since I'm one of the elders' wife, since I'm an elder's wife, anything that comes from me it's comes from you. So it's kind of the same. And Spike is injured, um, kicked off the Bebop because, of course, he didn't tell Jet that he used to work for the Syndicate, and he also doesn't even have a ship. I mean, the Swordfish, which is supposed to be his. So that yeah, a bit of a different take on all of that. And of course, Faye has gone and run off to go and find out what her past is because she still doesn't remember her past at this point. But we did get Radical Edward or Radical Ed showing up at the very end there, and we did have Ein at least, and they give Ein a little bit more. I don't know, a little more meat to Ein's role, if you will, and he's now a data dog, and we see that he is actually part of an experiment that's supposed to be housing memories. Hey, Mr. Roboto. Um, and also can shoot video from his eyes. So, yeah. So good stuff. I mean, it actually I like the way they play this out. So they do a lot of the same episodes as well. from the anime series to the live action, but they change him up a bit. Um, like the super assassin, they changed that up a bit, so it wasn't cats that he was afraid of; it was dogs, but still, and they made it Earthland instead of Spaceland or whatever it was that the decrepit little amusement park that he was in. But they also didn't have him dressed like the clown at the beginning either. He adopts that later on, and yeah, so there's some stuff there. I love seeing Adrienne Barbeau coming in and doing a cameo. Well, not even cameo. She did a guest appearance, I guess you could say, as the mother of the eco terrorists, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. That they did that. That was actually a good thing. And John Noble coming in and playing Caliban, who plays Vicious dad and the leader of the elders. And I'm just like, damn, man, that was actually pretty good. Yeah. Keith Hamilton says Vicious looks like Viserys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. Actually, it would be the other way around since Vicious came before Game of Thrones. See, there you go. Since it was 97, 98, somewhere around there. Mr. Roboto says Ein might in fact contain the mind of a genius in him. Well, we know that he's a data dog and that they were dumping memories of the super assassin into the dogs themselves. So he just has the memories of that killer. So yeah, good stuff. Um, and also them dumping off Ein at because he was linked to the killer, and they just kind of dump him on the port and they leave him there. I thought that was kind of sad, but Ed finds him and Ed finds Ein, and yeah, it was good. I mean, they did a good job, and I mean that whole thing with you know Faye in her ship, like shooting through the church windows, and welcome to the ouch, motherfuckers, and she's just like shooting them down. And yes, it's a hackneyed line, but still, it was good. It was a good scene. My favorite scene, though, I have to say, out of all of them, is still when Jet is at the recital, his daughter's recital. So he's sitting down in some ramshackle little bar. He's got the data link going on so he can actually be at his daughter's recital digitally. While out in the background, you see Spike fighting all of the Iron Mink's minions, including the Iron Mink as well. And that whole thing was just making me fucking laugh because you could just see him. He's just beating him up, and all that Jet is doing, he's focused on on his daughter's recital. So yeah, that was actually a lot of fun on that one. And also, I got to say, Iron Mink, by the way, was actually played by someone you might not recognize. By the way, so Iron Mink was played by Tyson Ritter, and Tyson Ritter was the one in The Preacher who played Humperdew. Humperdew. So yeah, that was Humperdew, by the way, who played Iron Mink. I was like, the guy looks really fucking familiar, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at him, looking at him, and I couldn't figure it out. And then just before I got on here, I was, I have my IMDb list up, and I'm looking at him like Tyson Ritter. Why does that name sound familiar? And I click on it, and I see that he was Humperdew, and I was just fucking, and also Jesus as well, and yeah, so the guy's pretty funny. He's funny. Um, doing the fake Russian accent that he did, you know, as he did. And that whole thing with Faye's fake mom, of course, that was a good episode too. That was a decent episode. I have to admit. I think that probably is my favorite episode. Is the Iron Mink episode with the whole thing of Faye trying to find out, trying to get her identikit back. And it also has the most human elements, I guess you could say, to the whole live action series. So is it worth your time? Yes, it's worth your time. Give it a shot. Like I said, the first 3 episodes are kind of a little bit rough getting through because they're trying to find their footing on things. Um, I'm hoping that for season 2, the writing and directing gets a little bit better just to make it so that the characters are actually talking to each other instead of at each other kind of thing, and, things are a little more realistic dialogue, I guess you could say at that point, as far as you can get with a sci-fi drama of bounty hunters in space. I do like that they actually put in the bounty hunter, TV show as well. I thought that was actually pretty funny that they did that. Um, and they got that going as well. So yeah, it was good stuff. We got a lot of really good stuff out of it, and I'm looking forward to a season 2, which I'm fairly sure they're going to get a season 2 out of this. So, with that said, what else do I have going on the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow is a triple header, not two, but three triple header. So we're gonna have Hawkeye episode 1, Hawkeye episode 2, and then another Is It Worth My Time? It's going to be Hit Monkey. That's right, Hulu's Hit Monkey. Um, yeah, Keith, I like the fake commercials too. The fake commercials are pretty funny too. That's gonna be at 4, 5, and 6 is where we're gonna be going on those tomorrow. Thursday, I'm gonna be off because it's Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be eating rather than seeing me, and I'm gonna be eating as well. Friday is going to be another episode of The Wheel of Time. It's gonna be episode 4 of The Wheel of Time. Um, Saturday is Saturday morning blast off, where I take the genre news of the weekend, any genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Sunday, I'm off. Monday will be another episode of Spoiler Alert, and then Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet. So we'll figure it out as we go along here. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you to everybody joining me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And also, if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you don't want to be notified, best thing to do is go and hit that bell down below. It's a 100% chance that YouTube won't notify you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also have all the links to my social media and all the links to my pages as well. Keith says, I was sure Jupiter's Legacy was going to get a second season too. So Jupiter's Legacy was bad, man. That was fucking horrible. I knew that was I was kind of praying that was going to get a second season. Because I mean, it was that was cringeworthy, if anything else. And that one actually had its own problems behind the scenes, which is why it got canceled. And honestly, like I said, I'm not shedding a tear for Jupiter's Legacy because, good God, that was horrible. All right, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for the triple header. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, your fake mom might show up wanting to get a ride from you in exchange for your identikit so you know what you are or who you are after waking up from a cryo freeze, too long of a cryo freeze, which gave you amnesia, which is why you need that identikit in the first place, which is just all kinds of trouble. Anyway, thanks everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and get those flu shots as well. Stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody. See you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. Good night.